VFX artists out there, like, please, you're in such a good place.
Yeah.
to own. You know, it was so funny. You mentioned how I am big on LinkedIn, and I watched a masterclass with none other than Kim Kardashian, and she said, own the feed, right? And I'm like, I'm not going to own Instagram, I'm not going to own TikTok, but I can own the feed in LinkedIn. So I did that. So I think for VFX artists, like, own your skill set, own the feed of like this AI moment, because this is everything.
Welcome to another CG Garage where the monstrous moon shines. We're building new Hollywood like in 1971's prime. From authors' bold dreams to AI's fever dream, where tech meets the silver or LED screen. Pixels and passion are pipelines unknown. Two hosts, one show on a deadline postponed.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the CG Garage. This is episode number 538, featuring Jess Loren, the CEO of Global Objects, who, while I do happen to share an office with her over at Global Objects, she has also joined me when we were at HPA, and we were able to talk while we were in Palm Springs at the HPA Tech Retreat to talk about all kinds of things. It's been a year since she's been on the podcast, and there was a lot of things to discuss. We discussed a lot of things about Gaussian Splats, which is a huge topic, believe it or not. And we also talked a lot about AI, of course, and digital humans and deepfakes and influencers, all things that are really, really amazing. Jess has a big following on LinkedIn, and if you don't follow her there, she has a lot of influence on people that are there. She really follows the industry and talks a lot about trends in the industry, and someone you should definitely be paying attention to. So definitely check out what Jess is doing there. I will be at NAB in April, so if you happen to be going to NAB, hit me up and we'd love to see you guys there. In terms of the podcast, you guys know where to follow us. We're at cggarage.com. If you have ideas for the podcast, you could just always email us, podcast@cggarage.com. Our YouTube also now is getting fairly active. We would love to be able to see you guys there. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us there. It's youtube.com/@cggaragepodcast, @cggaragepodcast. Please make sure and follow us there. And of course, our Discord is also a great place to continue the conversation. And that is just go to cggarage.com/Discord, and that will redirect you to join our Discord if you'd like to do that there. But for now, please enjoy episode number 538 with Jess Loren.
This episode of CG Garage is sponsored by CenterGrid Virtual Studio. Wondering why you went to film school just to be stuck managing hardware life cycles? CenterGrid delivers end-to-end GPU-accelerated cloud workstations built specifically for VFX and creative production, with flat, predictable pricing and personalized support from people who actually get your workflow. Plus, CenterGrid is TPN Gold Shield certified, so your studio's security is locked down. Check out what Virtual Studio can do for your pipeline at cgvirtualstudio.com. This episode of CG Garage is sponsored by Kitbash 3D, one of our favorite tools and an essential tool for 3D artists everywhere. With the largest library of cinematic quality, production-ready 3D assets, Kitbash 3D ensures that your studio has the tools to build stunning environments quickly, efficiently, and at scale. Design detailed worlds in a fraction of the time without compromising on quality. Head to kitbash3d.com and use the code CGGarage at checkout for 10% off any kit. Again, that's kitbash3d.com, code CG Garage.
So Jess, it's been almost a year since we talked.
Has it really? Wow. We're in the desert.
We're in the desert. We're in Palm Springs. This is your first HPA.
My very first HPA. Very happy to be here.
Yeah. How has that experience been?
It's like adult camp for media and entertainment professionals.
Adult camp.
Yeah,
That's a good way to put it. So, but let's talk a little bit about the last year. It's been a lot's happened last year, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. It's the age of the Gaussian splat now. We're moving the G splat, not it sounds funny.
But that is the thing, right? That's been a thing that's like in the last year people were talking about a little bit, but now it's like that's what everyone cares about, right?
Right. Yeah. Every department can now get involved in the content, right? And the content can just be as simple as the location, the set that you're at.
Right.
And you can share that amongst everyone on the crew to the executives and beyond.
Well, let's take a little recap because obviously, I know that Global Objects is, a company that's been working on creating environments and digital assets and what those assets are. Has
Yeah.
that completely shifted?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, we were trying to
So do
create.
you care about polygons as much as you used to?
Well, it's expensive, right? So what we learned.
Polygons are expensive.
Yeah, what we learned is, creating everything for the engine at the highest fidelity, and when our artists are trying to go in there and do textures and everything, is just so expensive. We were spending months and months and months trying to create these environments inside of Unreal Engine. And now with a Gaussian splat, everyone wanted photoreal, and now we can have photoreal, right? There's obviously limitations with lighting and
Right.
and the like, but if you want a certain scene and you want it exactly photoreal, that's what you're going to get with a spot, and it's amazing. And for ways around time of day, you can go to a location, you can capture a spot at every hour on the hour or the exact time you want it, however the weather might be. So you can have those splats ready for those different times of day. So that's how we've been able, and there are some relighting tools that are coming out, and the technology is only going to improve.
Sure.
So reality can now be reality.
Right. Now, let's talk a little bit about, because the thing that people worry about in computer graphics, especially, is everyone's like, this is the latest and hottest thing. And then 2 months later, it's not the latest and hottest
Right.
thing. This one seems to have stuck a little bit more,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, we've been working with Splat since, the early versions of XGrids, which is how we capture them.
Right.
I mean, it's a combination of LiDAR and a photo, system.
Yeah.
And I think also the process is a lot easier if you're not a technologist and you want to grab an XGrids unit and go capture some content, it's fairly easy. I think you sat down with
I
our
did it.
team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think you learned in 10 minutes?
Yeah. It's pretty
So,
straightforward.
right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think it's, democratization of technology and capture now has come down where anyone can go get a scene that they want to have, even if it's just for previs, right?
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about XGrids because obviously you guys have been working closely with them, and you guys are, you have a bunch of XGrids. I've been using them to try a bunch of things out.
Yeah.
So what's your relationship with them, and tell us a little bit about what that product is?
Yeah, so a couple years ago, we established a relationship with XGrids. We signed a deal to be the California distributor for media and entertainment. So
Okay.
specific to that, we sell them. So you can come to us and get an XGrids unit. Recently, they came out with the Portal Cam with an entry point of $5,000. So even, some of the other units are 20, 40, 50,000, and there's differences in their line. But specific to the Portal Cam, I would say it's a great entry unit into the world of Gaussian Splats and
Mhm.
to capture that content. And we've been selling a lot of them to many of the studios that all of us know. So
Yeah, I actually really the other units are pretty big and robust and great, but the Portal Cam could do a lot.
it's incredible. No, and it's the best with the photos, I would say. So for color and they say it's not as accurate. I'm like, some millimeter is pretty accurate.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, and it's for what we're doing, it's more than accurate in a
Mhm.
lot of cases. What has been the reaction? Obviously, you've seen studios that have sort of looked at this as an adaptation thing. What is their main purpose for the Gaussian Splat? Is it basically it's like, I wanna capture this environment, I wanna reuse it in virtual production? What are some of the use cases we've been seeing
Yeah,
people
I
do?
think all the above, right?
Okay.
Let's talk about sustainability. If you're in the past taking 20, 30 people to go to a location to just see this, what could be, right? What are
Right.
the ifs? Now we can send out a crew, take a Gaussian splat, and you can have that content, that environment be
Yep.
sent off to your executives, be sent off to all the departments, our department, whomever, and get sign off. And you can enter that world, meaning that set, in
Sure.
VR now too. So we developed a tool where we can take a splat, put it into what we're calling Go Scout, and
Okay.
now everyone
Go Scout.
Go Scout. So
Yeah.
similar to Frame.io, everyone can collaborate on video.
Right.
We've created a collaboration system for a splat.
Gotcha.
And you can now go into that content. You can make measurements. You can make notes.
Right.
And there is a very large studio whom NDA wise, I don't know if we can say, but we've been implemented into their workflow for all of their series now.
Okay.
So for the Portal Cam, you said it's a very easy entry point of 5K plus tariffs.
Right.
You can have a small crew. So for sustainability purposes, you're not sending out these 20, 30 plus people all around the world.
Sure.
And now you can have that content rapidly. And what do I mean rapidly? You can collect it in as easy as 10 minutes. Now, you said you've done it. It's a
Yep.
very fast collection process, capture process. And then you render it, throw it up into the system, and you got a splat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been honestly like for me, we did this, and I'll give you a specific example for the listeners, especially. We've been doing our VidVis stuff, as you know, in your location, which has been great, by the way. Being at Global Objects has been such an amazing place to be because there's so many new things happening there all the time. It's just a great place to hang out. I gotta tell you.
It's a crazy lab that we've built. But
Yeah.
We're always trying new shit.
Yeah. But anyway, so going to, doing the our VidVis, we obviously knew we wanted to do a location of a barn or a crumpled, building. And Janelle, Croshaw, who we're working very closely with, and
She's amazing.
she's amazing.
Shout
To Janelle, she had a location. Her family comes from the area around the Yosemite, and there's a lot of sort of gold rush stuff. So there's buildings and all kinds of barns and stuff there. So we went there, just like you said, small crew, right? And I captured the building that we were going to consider, and I was able to take that and send it to everyone, including, Richard, our DP, who wasn't able to go with us. So he said, go look at this location in 3D, navigate around it like it's a video game almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he could do that, and he doesn't have any technical knowledge either, right?
And he can call his shots.
He could say, oh, great, now I can see this falling here. I can see this. Okay, let's plan it this way. And that's the whole idea. Is like we can plan everything before we do it and just make sure it's right.
And you mentioned it was an old barn. You could even zoom in on the barn itself and see the degradation of the textures of the wood, et cetera. So it's really incredible.
Yeah, it's a really interesting idea. So that's been a big focus of you guys. As Splats has been.
Oh yeah, we're heavy into splats because we went through the pain of, again, trying to create these environments inside Unreal Engine, and and I think there was a cost factor too. Is early on we've been very public about our work with Fox, and just the cost factors, it was 100,000 plus for us to create these worlds, right? We were working on a project with Rob Lowe and
oh, right, the ship.
Yeah. So that it was very costly.
Right.
Now we could go back to that same location, get a splat, and now it is photoreal, right?
Right.
So, and again, we've talked about the limitations, but even the cost factor has significantly come down where this is usable in many different aspects. What we also found is most stages, large virtual production stages, are using Pixera, or Chaos. So, we built a plugin for Pixera for Gaussian Splats. So we're calling that Ghost Stage. So we also have that ability.
Okay.
I think we're working on something with you guys too.
You guys are definitely working on stuff with us. I don't know how much we can talk about that right now.
I don't want to reveal.
But yeah,
more coming.
Yeah, more coming. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing. Like, that's the thing that's interesting for us is that we're talking to people here, and they're like, "Where do you want to do Gaussian Splats? This Gaussian Splats that, right?" And I was like, okay, so for us, we're looking at, well, what if Gaussian Splats become more than just a 3D environment? What if you can use it as a lighting source? What if you can use it for other things? So that's just to give a hint of what we're working on in that area, but also sort of applying it to do more things. I think it's interesting, when we had the production summit, which I'm going to talk a little bit more, to hearing people like Kevin Bailey over at Eyeline talking about how they're doing so much with Gaussian Splats themselves, right, for their previs tools as well. So, and sort of thinking about what that is, including 4D Gaussian Splats. Are you guys thinking about 4D Gaussian Splats as well?
More to come on that.
We're going to, okay.
Yes,
all right.
Yes.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the production summit. How did that go?
Oh my gosh, Production Summit, we started with the concept back in 2018 of starting about production and different workflows. And a lot of it obviously has been focused on AI, but so much so that, Microsoft and AMD and NVIDIA, they want to come back and do season 5 again this summer. So I think
But you guys just did one.
we just did one. Yeah. Well, I think that's attuned with the technology is changing so rapidly, right? Like we have something comes out 3 months later, we're like, oh, that was years ago. We were like, oh no, that was just a quarter ago, right? And I think, so we're excited that we can have these conversations more occurring more frequently. So
So you think that this is going to be a thing where you might see conferences happening every 6 months or as opposed to every
I think
year?
there's, knowledge is power. And I think it's powerful getting communities together to talk about things, to have, when there's rapid change happening, we want make sure that those conversations are happening between the great folks that are creating these technologies. So I think HPA, we're here,
Right.
getting everyone together in the same room is powerful.
Sure.
And when you have these rapid things happening, we want to make sure that we're staying on top of it. There's lots of compliance. There's lots, with specifically with AI. And I
Right.
just saw one of the lawyers on stage saying it's moving so quickly, we have to stay on top of it. So I think getting people together, getting the community together more frequently is important.
What's been the most revealing thing about AI? Because there was, if you go back a year ago, right, people was like the studio said, we'll never use AI.
Right?
That's not the true anymore.
No,
Right?
that's not true. And I will say, people come to Global Objects, they're like, we have a problem, and we'll, because we have the lab environment, throw some shit around, put something together and create a workflow. So I'm happy to say we are working with many of the different studios on different problems they're trying to solve. And they're all based in AI. One of the studios, we're working on a VFX workflow for things that they're trying to delete out of scenes, we'll say.
Okay.
Another studio, which I mentioned, we're now on the lot, and we're working on a scouting solution with Gaussian Splats,
Right.
as well as a remote directing solution.
Okay.
So, there's AI involved in the deletion inside of Splats for cleanup, et cetera, for noise, for people walking by. So
Right.
there's AI involved in that aspect. So.
Yeah, which is practical.
Yeah, but that versions of that have been around since we call it machine learning.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Exactly. I think people need to realize that these are all things. It's like we can't use AI, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that idea? Like, there's still people that are like all in or all out on terms of this, right?
Listen, it's the train it's moving, and you're either going to get off or you're going to miss the destination. So I
Right.
think Lionsgate just announced a chief head of AI, Kathleen, I think is her name. There's other studios that are looking to name these heads of AI. So I think it's happening.
Right. What about the tech industry and how they're responding to the entertainment industry? And I'll phrase it a little here. I'll rephrase it. Do you think that the tech industry really understands the entertainment industry, or do you think that they're not necessarily responding to the creatives the way that they need to be?
They don't, but they have the tools, right? So I had the opportunity here at HPA to compete in the GHACs hosted
Right.
by Google.
Right.
So their tools are not made for filmmakers at all. Like you get dropped into this repository and they're like, do this, do that, da, 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 da,
Right.
da, right? And so we, rose our hand on our team. Our CTO, Eric, was
Mhm.
like, well, can we use a tool that we've built for filmmakers with your products in it? And they said, sure, go for it.
Okay.
We wound up winning,
Okay.
so we have built a tool called Go Studio, and it's a generative AI workflow to
Oh, I
bring in
know. It's
many
pretty amazing.
systems. So, and there's going to be more to come on that. But yeah, no, I think but they're willing to listen, right? I think all the tech companies want to have these conversations. Google's here because they want to hear from
Sure.
filmmakers and, content creators. So I think it's all coming. I think step one was getting past the no AI.
Sure.
We're beyond that. And now it's like, okay, let's listen, let's work together. Microsoft has their relationship with OpenAI. Google's working with many of the different studios in different capacities. So I think, again, coming back to community, coming back to getting everyone into a think tank like this event,
Right.
like Production Summit, like AI on the Lot, et cetera, is helpful and bridging the
So
gap.
I'm going to ask you a more challenging question.
Sure.
The strikes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the strikes for a little bit. A lot of what was going on in strikes were people rebelling against AI tools, both
Yeah.
from the writers and from the actors, right? And there was like no AI, no AI. The entire industry suffered because of that standoff that was going on.
Yeah.
And they made an agreement. None of it seems to matter.
Yeah.
Do you think that we should have like learned something or done better work in terms of how we manage that in Hollywood in some ways?
Yeah, I think there's always room for improvement.
Sure.
I think, as humans, we want to protect what's human about us, right? And
Right.
AI is scary. We all know
Sure.
that. And I work a lot in visual effects. I'm on the board of the VES.
Yep.
I think specifically, like, in just speaking to so many visual effects artists, they're very afraid. But I'm like, listen, you have an amazing knowledge as a visual effects artist to take these tools and amplify yourself as a creative, as an artist.
Sure.
So I look at it in reverse as like, okay, if you work in entertainment and we have these set of tools now to amplify, to create your own Jarvis, right? Like, look what just happened with Clawbot, whatever they keep renaming it now.
Right.
Now you can create your own agent for exactly your set of skills, right?
Right.
So amplify that. Go out into the community and create the tools that work for you
Yeah.
as a human, right?
Yeah.
Like and everyone wants to talk about synthetic actors, right?
Sure.
There is power in a human and a way a human connects with another human, another way to communicate, right? Like we
Sure.
talking about bringing community together. An actor can connect with the camera, connect with the story. Whereas how do you prompt your way into that?
Right.
I don't know how. So I think we're going to use specifically what we're working on is a combination of synthetic worlds with real actors,
Right.
right? So I think that's where tech can mean entertainment and storytelling and how we can all come together.
Right.
I think going down the road and trying to force into just all AI is the wrong approach.
Right.
And I think that's probably full circle what a lot of people were afraid of in the industry.
I find it interesting because, yes, they were afraid of it. And then they seemed like, well, it was kind of going away. People were just dealing with it. And it's like, well, we'll hire a bunch of lawyers to just figure this out
Right.
as we go. Which, by the way, the lawyers are still trying to, they don't even know what's going on. I hate to say it, but they, you know what, it's all new territory for them. They have no precedent to work on, right?
Yeah.
Which is interesting. But then suddenly, like last week, right, Roy Robinson, who's been on the podcast a couple of times, he put out a video that with Sea Dance of Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt fighting each other. That's been all over the news now.
Yes, it has.
And he specifically did it to show people, look what's possible.
It's terrifyingly, beautifully cool and amazing, yet scary and all of the things, right?
Right.
So
But what does that mean?
Right. What does it mean? What does it
Right.
mean? It's terrifying is what it means.
Right.
Do you feel like you got the emotion from Brad and Tom in that piece?
I don't think it matters because honestly, what's the point? Are you
Okay.
really just going to make a movie with AI Brad Pitt? Is anyone who care? Like, no, people want to see the real Brad Pitt,
There you go.
right?
You answered your question. Yeah. I mean, just on stage this morning, Jason from Secret Level showed a piece that he did with full synthetic actors.
Right.
It was compelling. It had story,
Sure.
but was it off a little bit? Yeah.
Right.
Was it a really good story? Yeah. I think he did a great job.
Right.
But I don't know that that's how I want to, as a consumer of content, that's not what I want for the future of all my content.
No. Well, as a filmmaker, I think people are just misguided because, for example, like there was that synthetic actress that came out and got all of
Oh, Tilly Norwood. Yeah.
Okay, so you know who she is, and people, I don't even know her name, but I'm terrible with actors' names either way, real or not real. But the point being, who cares? Does she actually make a movie? No, right? All she is, she's a bunch of stills in press conferences or in press releases, right?
Yeah.
And so what did she accomplish? She made their stock go up. That's the only thing she did.
Yes, I reported on that on my LinkedIn. Yes, that is correct.
She didn't do anything.
Right.
And everyone's like freaking out. It's like, she didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Only thing she's doing is making people a little bit richer, but she didn't actually accomplish anything. She didn't take anyone's job away.
Yeah.
No one's
Well,
going to go,
she
I can't
doesn't
see the new
exist.
Tilly Warden like, no. And we had little Michaela before that, right? And who cares about that? And that's all about Instagram clicks, right?
Right.
So okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about influence. Let's talk about how AI has changed. You're very good at being a voice out there, and you're a real person. I can testify. She's a real person. You're very good at getting a voice out there and letting people know about the industry and what's going on. People follow you because they're interested in that. Right now, social media, as I'm sure you're well aware, is overrun with a lot of AI right now.
AI slot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like how is that changing the landscape of social media?
As a mother of 3 children, I think I'm most worried about young minds and what's going on of how do they understand what's real and what's not real?
Right.
Because their world is they're still unveiling the real world, right? So I think us as content creators need to take a real stance on figuring out compliance on that. So I will say that one.
By the way, I'm seeing the kids are identifying it way better than like your mom or my
Oh,
mom.
for sure. Oh, I'm about to swear.
Yeah.
Yes, very true. Very true. That is true.
Yeah, the boomers are way more
Fooled.
by this.
Yeah, fooled. So in that foolery, what are we doing about that, right?
Sure.
Like there's and I'm never about, the government should control that or anything like that, but in some ways, is it us then as content creators that is it the tech companies? Is it this? I mean, we need to figure this out, right?
Sure.
Because everyone was afraid of deep fakes. Well, we're beyond that now.
Well beyond that.
It's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
So I think as far as like your question on social media, and you have to be a cautious consumer now with social media. I think we have to figure out some sort of verification system of this is a real human. This is really what I said is Jess Loren, and I think it's dangerous too, especially when deepfakes and you can take someone and manipulate their voice and their mouth to have them say whatever you want them to say.
Sure.
That's terrifying, right? Because again, going back to knowledge is power. If you're putting the power into the hands of a technology, and then that person, that AI bot, is saying something that's untrue, well, then what have we done?
Right.
Terrifying. And then it's put onto social media, viewed by millions or billions, and you got a big problem.
But so here's the best example I found of what this is that I see a bunch of AI posts, and I mentioned it on the last podcast, but I'll say it again for you. It's like it's an AI generated video pretending to be a behind the scenes of a movie, pretending that something was done practically and not with CGI or
Right.
AI, right? And the reason that these things are so popular is because people love to believe that movies were done practically. So they're being fooled twice.
Right. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Right. And the only reason people are doing that is people are looking what's popular on social media, movie set behind the scenes,
Yeah.
pretending that it's real. So they just do that.
Yeah.
And so they're just doing it for the clicks. They're not, it's, I don't want to say it's malicious. It's just for the clicks.
Well, because that's what drives the CPM, and that's how they're making money, right?
Yes.
So
just,
it's obviously working.
yeah. So just
They keep
farms
doing
just
it.
going click, click, click. You like. And that's
Yeah.
what gets the thing. But what's shocking is, and you go to one of those and you see the comment section is full of people being fooled.
Right. No, I agree. I know which videos you're talking about exactly. And it as someone, and you can spot it and I can spot it.
Right.
And then we're like, oh shit.
But you see, my dilemma as someone is like, okay, I know this is fake. I have two choices. I can identify it's fake, comment on it, so people who are reading it look at the comments, say, oh, I've been fooled, I shouldn't click on this.
Yeah.
But the minute I engage with it, I help it. Right.
You're like,
so what do I do? Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, so do I report it?
right.
You know,
So we need a button then.
we need a button.
We need a button. Great idea. Yeah. I mean, like, if enough people, then it triggers, this is not real.
Right.
Or
But do you think social media, do you think Meta would care? Meta just wants more engagement, right?
Yeah, they're an advertising company. I mean, they make their money on. So again, that's where, are we giving too much power to these tech companies?
Right.
Comes into play.
What about Meta? I believe Meta's ultimate plan with their AI strategy is literally to make an ad for you for the product that you want.
Right.
Right. So
then they're deciding what I want.
But they're saying, oh, well, you like Adidas shoes, so we're going to make a Jess Loren. Hey, Jess, do you want to see these Adidas shoes in your size? Right. I was just watching Minority Report. That was exactly what was in Minority Report.
Yeah. How long ago was that now? Like 20 years?
2002.
Okay. So over 20
Over 20 years. Yeah.
Crazy. Forward thinking there. Do I want personalization in my consumption of content? Yes and no, right?
Right.
Because what if I, am having a renaissance quarter of my life and I want to be shown something different, right? Well,
Right.
then the algorithm doesn't know that I'm, feeling that way. today is we're filming this on Chinese New Year.
Right.
This is the fire horse year where things are supposed to be disruptive and changing, right?
Right.
So how does the algorithm know that I want to be more crazy and wild and horse?
Right. Yeah, I don't know, right? Or does it figure that out and sort of guide you into something, right?
Right? But then that's a tech company,
Right.
again, taking.
So how do you balance that life?
That's something we as human beings have to come to terms with ourselves on. And how
Sure.
how we consume. Do we even have that device in our hand? Do we consume with those platforms? Do we have a Facebook, have an Instagram, have a TikTok, because that's where all the information is being gathered, is what do we choose to put out there? LinkedIn, there's
Sure.
so many different platforms that we have so much information about ourselves on.
Yeah.
But even in the way we consume it, even if you go to the grocery store and you use that little discount thing that they tap,
Right.
even that information is
Of
being
course.
collected, right?
Yeah.
So every moment and every transaction and every conversation that we're having, we're being tracked in our emails. I love that little polish button on Gmail, but that's everything's being tracked, right?
Right.
So how do we as consumers take accountability and take hold of that? Like, how can you even be a human without technology these days? I don't even know.
Yeah, well, it's true, but I think there's little moments of rebellion that I've been noticing that are happening that seem to.
Ooh, do tell.
Well, I don't want to call it rebellion. I'm just going to say, like, for example, Photochem has been telling me that they're like one of the last film labs in the United States, right?
Mhm.
And they're processing more film, so much film,
Mm.
because so many people are shooting on film.
Yeah.
And the reason they're shooting on film, there's many reasons, but one of the ones that seems to resonate is shooting on film creates a discipline of filmmaking that is like more rigorous,
Right.
and older technology allows you
Yeah.
to go slow down, make your movie, And I
Mhm.
think, movies like One Battle After Another were shot on VistaVision. I believe part of Marty Supreme was shot on film. Definitely Odyssey was like the largest
Yeah.
IMAX ever, right?
Mhm.
So there's a ton of people using film right now. And I feel that this is like, this resonates, right? These films, uh, people are responding to them. They're watching them. They're not necessarily watching them because they're shot on film,
Right.
but because they were shot on film, it created a more structured, older way of making movies that seems like, oh, I missed that.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
So a love of the craft.
There's a craft of
Yeah.
filmmaking that seems using film sort of forces you to get back to craft a little
Mhm.
bit more.
It's interesting you mentioned that. I think, with the advent of kind of AI film or AI content, I think we're going to see a renaissance in not that, I think theater,
In theaters.
putting people into a theater, having a human on a stage.
Oh,
I
right.
think that's just going to explode. Not that it's already not exploding. But I think there's going to be more theater coming back, and maybe in the high school system,
Right.
the theater clubs and performance and plays and humans on stage. I recently, a couple of months ago, was in New York and I went and saw Wicked finally.
Right.
It's been on Broadway for 20 plus years now.
Sure.
Finally went and I was like, I really love going to the theater. Why don't I go to the theater? Like,
Yeah.
it's such a unique experience. Um, and you can hear the craft, right? You hear them singing with such passion and
Right.
acting, and it's live, and you're around people experiencing this. And so I think we're going to see this large presence for theater in communities around the world. So
Yeah. I think that's going to be interesting to see. I don't. I don't necessarily think it's rebellious against it. It's just a way to like. Well, you want to make sure you're seeing a real human,
yeah.
but having that idea is interesting. What about advertising?
Oh gosh. Okay. I mean, some of the things we're working on with like dynamic swapping. So again, going back to personalization,
Right.
as advertising is all going to be directly towards you, Chris, for,
Right.
you're wearing a red shirt with fish on it. Maybe you want a blue shirt with fish on it because you had the red shirt with fish on it,
Right.
so you're going to start seeing fish shirts.
Yeah.
So
I can guarantee you, just because we've had this conversation, I will see fish shirts on my phone.
there you go. I know, because our phones are listening to us.
Right.
Yeah. So advertising is all going towards the world of personalization.
Right.
And that's that train.
Do you feel that, like, I was watching the Super Bowl, as that's what I do, and we all used to watch them for the ads. We still do to some
Yeah.
extent, but the ads this year did not have the rigor or complexity that I think they used to.
Yeah. Actually just posted on my LinkedIn, I think it was yesterday. It was talking about Brad Pitt versus Mr. Beast and how Mr. Beast performed better at the Super Bowl. So it was
Right.
interesting that, this creator known for YouTube
Right.
versus one of the, if not the largest movie star on the planet,
Yeah.
is not as performing as well as a content creator from YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So we're going through a change right now. And think about it, like my son, who's 5, watches a lot of YouTube. He's going to be 6 soon. He probably doesn't even know who Brad Pitt is, but he knows who Mr. Beast is. I can tell you that.
Sure.
Like, you have children, they know who Mr. Beast is.
Yeah.
This is so. Has it turned over to creators are more famous now? Like these, niche content creators are more famous than traditional movie stars, like a Tom Cruise, like a Brad Pitt, like a
Yes.
Tom Hanks. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily want to dismiss them, because I think there's room for both, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
There's room
completely.
for both, but I think that we have dismissed YouTubers as young kids these days playing with their iPhones,
Mhm.
right? And they're not wrong, but those young kids playing with their iPhones somehow have developed a skill set that has enabled them to be very recognizable, right?
Yeah.
So Markiplier, for example, and the thing that he did with Ireland, he did that all by himself and
Yeah.
did all the marketing and got all the distribution. That should be an alarm bell to everyone.
The democratization of
Well, it should be an alarm bell to Hollywood saying, that sea of middle management agents that
Mhm.
does everything to make sure that your movie gets
Right.
done. Those guys, you may not need them anymore.
Mhm.
And all those big ivory towers in LA,
Mhm.
they may not be as necessary to get your movie distributed.
It's incredible. And look, at Production Summit, we had a creator, Anthony.
Mm.
He has a channel called Dental Digest.
Oh yeah.
He started
Mr. What's it?
Dr. Brushy.
Dr. Brushy.
Another channel he
That's
launched, right?
so great.
So he kind of went through the process of, creating these very niche channels and the age range that he adheres to in these different channels that he created. But, over 30 billion views. Let's say that number again, 30 billion views.
Right.
He's killing it. Killing it. But you
Right.
know what he wants? He wants the notoriety of you and I and all the people in Hollywood.
Right.
Because these creators, so it's like we want the viewership, right?
Right.
And then they want the notoriety from Hollywood, the
Right.
Television Academy, the Oscars, all of this.
Sure.
So going back to what you said early on is like we're going through a change, right? And
Sure.
we're figuring it out.
Yeah.
But I fully believe that these content creators on YouTube deserve all the credit in the world because they're out there doing it. They're making it happen.
I was talking about this before, like they're the ultimate generalists, right?
Yes, they do it all.
They do.
Literally.
I mean, I'm just not, obviously we know all the camera work and sometimes they know visual effects, but they do their own distribution, they do their own marketing, they do everything,
Mhm.
right? And somehow figure it out. The one that's funny, the irony of all of this is this was mentioned on the Verge cast was like, you've made it as a YouTuber if you start complaining that the algorithm is not in your favor. That means you're getting enough views that you start to realize the
Yeah.
flaws in the system.
Right. Yeah. I think what we can learn from those creators, and especially here in Hollywood, is I think there's a certain level of quality bar that we kind of look at, and it's like YouTubers are just like, get it out, just get it out there,
Sure.
And there's tools like Jet Set where you can
Yeah.
create an environment behind you and have it just on your phone. So get out there and do it. Like if you have something to say and you have a story to tell, there is nothing in your way
Right.
to get that story out there now.
Yeah, that was something that Ben Hasford did. We did our VidViz piece, which we know is temporary, right? But it was enough for us to sort of figure out what we're trying to do and everything. And Ben says, I could watch the whole movie this way.
There you go. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, I was like, oh, huh.
Right? Because your bar's up here, right? And some other people's might be here.
Right.
And,
Well, because the point being that we focused on what was important for us, which was story framing, lighting, right? Does this work? Dialogue, editing.
yeah,
We're not worried about the everything. So it's like, yeah, but the fact is that you did like 90% of the work just in a very simple, fast way. So
very simple, fast way.
yeah.
Incredible technology has made that possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting to sort of think about what that means for us as traditional filmmakers, right?
Mhm.
Do we sort of look at that and put it down? Or do we sort of look at that and say, maybe there's a different way that we can do our movies, right?
I think, Chris, you have an incredible community. You get to work with the best of the best in the world, right? And you bring those
It's very
people
fortunate.
you bring those people together. You bring them on your podcast. I think for you, my suggestion would be continue to push that question forward: is what is enough, right? What is the quality bar?
Right.
Like, do we have to be up here, or are these tools where we can mix and match, right? And like, what is enough? What is
Right.
enough? To put it
Well,
out
the
there.
thing to me that I think is important, I think you would agree with this, is like it's more important that you do it right and not only worry about the quality when it interferes. Sometimes people get wrapped up in technology and they forgot about actually making the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're like, oh
yeah.
no, I'm gonna try this new thing. Oh no, I'm gonna try. It's like, did you actually shoot anything today? No, because I'm fixing this thing and I have an idea. And you know what? I'll get it tomorrow. It's like, shoot the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Look what happened with K-pop Demon Hunters, right? Isn't
Right.
it like the most best performing content Netflix has ever had? And it was this like story that they
And
tried to
it was never supposed to be released.
right. And I cannot tell you, my 4-year-old daughter knows every single word, will watch that movie 900 times.
Right.
And I, as her mother, can watch the content with her.
Sure.
So now we've created content that
Right.
can be viewed by multi-generational.
Yeah.
And so kudos to Netflix for taking a shot on that content, because
It's the thing that I think has been important is that, you know, when I was a kid, I know I'm a little older than you, but when I was a kid, Star Wars came out.
yeah,
I was 6 years old when they came out. It changed everything.
Right.
Of course, at 6 years old, you're not exposed to much, so Star Wars is huge, right? But it became a very important part of what was going on. And the reason it was so important is because no one had seen anything like it,
right?
right? 50 years later, we're still my generation is still trying to shove this down kids' throats.
Yeah,
And they deserve their new Star Wars.
right. No, I agree.
No more, why are you still trying to give me more Yoda
Yeah.
when I really need something different? I need
Right.
something of that generation, something
Yeah.
that they own, not that I'm trying to, you know, what if my parents were still trying to shove Casablanca down my throat? You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. So I think,
It's a good message for the executives.
yeah, right. Like, look at what young people are doing and,
Yeah.
and figure this out. So, listen, I'm all for looking at how things used to be done because I think that there's a lot of lessons that we can learn. I mean, my whole Monstrous Moonshine premise that I'm doing with Daniel is that the 1970s was a moment of. I can think of Scorsese doing Mean Streets the same way that I could think of a YouTuber trying to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Like he was just trying to figure it out. He was very rebellious. He's like shot it roughly. He's thrown in all kinds of music from the Stones just to get people excited. It wasn't necessarily this massive work of art, but it was different enough to go, what is that? You
Yeah.
know? And I think that's good. I think that we need more of that. What about visual effects companies? And bespoke visual effects versus like people making their own visual effects as opposed to hiring these big, huge visual effects companies to do
Right.
them.
I mean, shit. Look at Higgsfield. Look what they've done.
Right.
It's incredible, right? So, big visual effects companies, I think they still definitely have their place, because when you have these large scale budget projects, these films, you want the humans involved. You want detail. You want a VFX soup on set. You want, that team behind it looking at those shots, looking at those pixels, understanding the story that's involved with what's being conveyed in the explosion or in the, de-agification of the actor. But do I think the tools are incredible? Ooh, yes. So there's going to be some change. It's already happening.
Right.
I think at Global Objects, we created a workflow. I think I said at the top of this, that traditional VFX workers would have done.
Right.
But, no VFX artist is going to sit here and tell you they love roto.
No.
Right? No. So I think there's tools that are helping that process. So I think it's a lot of more finishing and final pixel
Sure.
that these artists are a part of
Right.
in reviewing the process. So
Well, I would argue some people say they love roto because they get a paycheck out of it, right?
okay.
But that paycheck's gone now.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, part of the problem.
I think a lot of VFX artists and VFX houses are having to retool
Sure.
and reinvent, So do I think there will be less VFX companies 6 months from now? Yes, I do. Do I think that those artists are worthy and have a skill set that is needed?
They're the only ones that do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think if there's any artistry out there that's perfect for AI and the tools, it's a VFX brain.
Right.
It's like, I want to empower VFX artists. I want to say,
Sure.
you have the tools, you have the knowledge. Like, just go take empower yourself, take the reins and own
I think
more.
people are scared, though.
Right. So then organizations like I'm a part of, and then you're part of, the Visual Effects Society needs to promote that more of take these tools, take the reins, get out there because, again, knowledge is power,
Sure.
right? So VFX artists out there, please, you're in such a good place
Yeah.
to own. It was so funny. You mentioned how I and big on LinkedIn. And I watched a masterclass with none other than Kim Kardashian. And she said, own the feed, right? And I'm like, I'm not going to own Instagram. I'm not going to own TikTok, but I can own the feed in LinkedIn. So I did that. So I think for VFX artists, own your skill set, own the feed of this AI moment. Because this is the feed, this is everything. This is everything going forward. So, and in all artists, right? I think there's even we are scanning props, right? I think prop masters are worried about what we're doing and taking physical and creating the digital. And I'm like, well, no, you can create these worlds digitally now. You have the amazing skill set of being able to assemble worlds that has to be done digitally as well as physically, right? Or even marrying the physical and the digital, right?
Sure.
So even on the what you're doing with virtual production, you have to create those scenes. There are some things in the foreground that you want that are physical.
That's the balance.
And marrying it with the digital.
And the only way, what we're doing with our Gaussian Splat in that environment, that barn I was talking about, it's we're going to the actual barn first.
Yeah.
Right? So I need that barn to start with.
Yep.
And then I scan it and then reuse it. So I can use it more efficiently, right? I don't have to put it on a truck and bring it to Hollywood, but but I can at least I can use different ideas. That's good. Okay, let's talk real quick because I've got a little bit more time, but let's talk real quick about what you guys are doing at ISS because I think it's really cool. And now at this point, you guys have done a lot more since we last talked.
Yeah.
So let's first talk about what ISS is, what you guys are doing, and then all your virtual production stuff.
Awesome. So ISS is Independent Studio Services. Going back to the 1970s, they are the largest owner of props globally.
Okay.
They have 7 locations. So they're here in the Los Angeles area. They're in Chicago. They're in Atlanta, New York, Budapest, and London.
Right.
And they're the builder of worlds, right? So think of all the things that you see on a movie set and all the rooms and all the lands, they've got it. So everything in period collections to there's a whole Western section. It's
amazing. Walking through ISS is amazing. It was oh, here, you want to do, a revolution of military people from
You
the
got it.
1750s. It's here.
Here, not only it's here it is for all 200 of your actors, your
Right.
extras,
All the
so
extras, right?
all the extras. So
And then the one that cracked me up is
Yeah.
walking around, big crates of fake cocaine everywhere.
yeah, everywhere. Oh, and weed and fake money,
Yeah.
and they got it all. There's
Yeah.
a story about the fake money, but we'll
Yeah.
save that. So, so we partnered up with ISS to digitize their library. So
So how did that happen?
Okay, so we had been in conversations with, and they don't want to be named, but some of the tech companies,
Okay.
and they were talking about, training the model and, objects, and,
Sure.
one of the research labs said to us, well, can you get your hands on 40,000 random things? And I was like, 40,000 random objects.
things.
I was like, am I going to go to like garage sales? Like, what
Right.
am I going to do? And I'm like, and I just had a light bulb moment as we do. I was like, well, I work in entertainment. Just go to a prop house, right? So,
Oh,
and
right.
I'm a go big or go home person. So
Sure.
I was like, well, who's the largest? And it was ISS. So
Right.
we started, conversations with them, and it was no easy task to explain to someone whose entire business is based on the physical that
things.
we want to digitize these things and have them available for world building. So
Right.
that was a process. Knowledge is power, right? So
Sure.
educating them and the future of what's going on in AI, and they fully understood it. And kudos to them and their team and MBS, because we now have this partnership.
Right.
So we are going across these locations and scanning all of the things, creating their digital twin, and then having it available in collections. We're going to be releasing some of these things through Epic on Fab.com, TurboSquid,
Mhm.
and having exclusive collections that are IP cleared as well. So I
Okay.
think that's another aspect of it is we have these relationships now where you don't have everyone's worried about AI and the clearance. I
Mhm.
think in the collections that we have, we won't have those issues.
Right.
So, in addition, outside of the media and entertainment realm is when you're I was at CES. I don't know if if your viewers are there. There was very clumsy robots at CES.
Yeah.
Very clumsy robots. So I think, the big theme was physical AI, the real world around us. How are these robots going to operate with all of the things, right? I think we understand, there's a lot of data sets of from driving and LiDAR and all that. Tesla, they've done a lot of that, of mapping of the world. But think about inside of a home.
Right.
Who has the 3D files of all the shit that's in our houses,
Right.
So I think that's a larger part of what we're doing is we're creating the largest library of all of the things inside of worlds inside your home from every time period. So and I jokingly say, we want to make sure that Grandma Joe's robot knows how to operate the world around her. So
Right. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Training these robots have to be trained on what you do in your house,
yeah,
which is harder to train people on that.
yeah. I mean, I watched that. I think it was it LG? I don't know. I watched a robot try to fold a towel, and it was like a clump. It was like, what's that going to do?
I just don't understand how they felt like that was a good demo.
You saw it too? It was
Yes.
just so bad.
It's like,
Right?
this is not helping you.
No. I was like, I can clump up a towel. Like, you're just.
Yeah, and it took it
score
like
one
6
for
minutes.
Yeah, score one for humans on that one, right? Like, so I actually, it's funny enough. I enjoy doing laundry. It's like a Zen thing for me.
Sure.
So, yeah. I got a lot of kids, so there's a lot of laundry.
There's a lot of laundry. Okay, so what's next for you? Where do you see this thing going? What are you excited
What's
about?
next is I'm really excited about getting into these prop houses globally, getting the data set, our data rolling, and then releasing that data to the world in many different aspects. So I think growth in that sector. I think a lot of the software that we're developing specific to M&E helps a lot of filmmakers understand the technology and the tools. So
Yep.
bridging the gap of these are the tools. I'm a filmmaker. How do I use the tools? So we're really focused on that as well.
Okay.
And then, we enjoy capture. So if you have a project and you don't want to do the capture, we have a team that can go out there and get the content for you.
Right.
So Those are the three kind of verticals.
You guys
we're
moved your
working on.
stage over there too, right?
Yeah, we have a virtual production wall inside of ISS now. So we launched at Production Summit saying for $6,000 you can come in, shoot a day on our wall, and have all the props you can grab from the shelf.
That's a deal.
It's a deal.
It's a real deal.
So you want to talk about democratization? I think, we come from the world of, I was filming on a stage in Atlanta, the Trilith studio stage a couple years ago, and they had quoted us $150,000 per day, right?
Yes.
So now we're coming down and I'm able to offer a model for $6,000 a day with all the props for all the world building
Right.
in front of you. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the growth of that because I think, going back to, a filmmaker, then come in and get it done in one day. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's very exciting.
And I think there's a lot of, in specific, there's a lot of people trying to figure out in this sector, the verticals.
Sure.
So I'm interested to see where that's all going. I think there's people taking it the full AI approach way, right? There's people taking it AI worlds with real actors.
Sure.
And then I think there's people that are just doing it practically. So I think a la Real Short, they are doing it mostly practically. So I think there's a lot happening in that.
Sure.
And I'm eager to see progress or just see what people are doing in the vertical content realm.
Yeah. Well, very cool. Well, thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Chris.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
LED screen, pixels and passion, our pipelines unknown to